Well, hello, Genevieve, all the way out from Australia. It's really lovely to have you here today. Thank you for giving me your time, especially since it's kind of at the end of your day and it's kind of sort of towards the middle of my day here in South Africa. But I really just am so grateful that you can take some time and just share a little bit with me because obviously you and I know each other well. We go back a long way. We are actually family connected through in some way. But I think the most important thing about today is to hear from you why you wanted to do the awakening.
Well, you told me about it, firstly, and I'd seen you. Oh, before I start, just hi everyone, and thanks for this time share. I'm jumping straight into answering the questions, but you told me about it, and I'd seen your journey to developing this program because, like you say, we're family, so we're catching up, and there was just something about your excitement about the program as well. And it's like, oh, okay. And you didn't let on too much, but I did the program, and my one daughter did the program as well. And it was just during that time, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what you're on about. Yeah. So I was curious. I'd seen changes in you. You'd always been a coach for a very long time. I'd seen how excited you were about becoming a coach back in the day, and but with the awakening and you writing your own program, it was just something else. It was a different spark that caused my curiosity. Yeah, and I thought,
Okay,
well,
well,
let me find out about this. I want what she's got.
yeah, well, I'm so glad that you saw the changes because I can absolutely confirm that the transformation for me was extraordinary. And so
Mm,
it's wonderful that you could see that. And we're here really to talk about what you got out of the awakening and, the curiosity that led you to do it. What was it that you felt you really experienced, and how did it really change for you? How did it change your life? How did it change your family, your work, etc.?
mm. So I wasn't working at that point in time, and I was looking to. It's funny you're asking me this question now because I would have answered it so differently a while ago. But it's just that's transformation. But I wasn't working, and I was trying to see where was it that I wanted to go. It was also during COVID, and the world was crazy, and it was a lot of living from the outside in, and I was like, oh, um, maybe there is something else. It doesn't have to be this way. You had told me that in conversations, and I was like, oh, what are you on about? It doesn't make sense. And then going on the awakening enlightened me to that. I think it helped me to get through COVID as well, and also the changes that were taking place. We just moved to a new country. We'd only been here for a short while, 2 years or so, when the whole world went into lockdown or whatever it was. So that I think it helped me to get through that whole external chaos. Um, I still didn't get it completely. I'll be quite honest, and I think you know that I'm very much in my head. My background is in academia, so overthink it to the T. And I got it, but I didn't get it, and I needed more life to happen so that I really got it. And indeed, life did happen in very many big ways, and all good. And then it just started settling and sinking like, oh, so this is what it's about. Yeah, so it was the awakening was the beginning of the awakening.
Aha.
Um, and then more awakening came after the awakening until I was like fully awake. I was like, oh, well, I don't even know if I'm fully awake yet. But anyway, I was so much more awake and was like, oh my goodness, is this what it's about?
Yes.
So, and it was about just living from a simpler perspective and living from a real place of peace and finding almost if I want to say trick, but it's not. It's just so obvious once you know, but finding the way to live from that simpler place.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
and now I'm living in that, and when I think about how I was feeling back at that time. I mean, it's, looking through scratch glass. I love that metaphor. But how I was feeling back then to how I'm feeling now, it's actually just so completely different. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's lighter. It's more curious. It's more at ease. Yeah, so it's just easier.
Sure. Love, and I've heard you say this before, and obviously I know your background and this, I know so much about you, but you often refer to that beautiful metaphor of the scratched glass. And I would love for
Mm,
you just to tell us a little bit more about that, because I'm curious to even explore it a little bit more with you now.
mm. So I don't know who it was one of the master teachers, or could have been Sid Banks. I don't know. I was listening to one of them speak, and they said that the past is the past and it no longer exists. All that exists is now, is this present moment. And what we tend to do is we go back into the past and we try and relive that memory, but that memory doesn't exist anymore, because what happened then was real then, because we were there in that moment, and our thinking was right there in that moment. But now we've moved on so far ahead, and what we see is through glass, but the glass has all scratches on. And when we look through that glass, we actually can't see clearly what it was in the past. So why do we want to go there and try and make sense of stuff that has scratches on?
Right,
It's like,
right.
you're wasting your time because you're trying to get past those scratches and you actually just can't.
Yes.
It's impossible. And also, just from listening to them when they speak about people that they've worked with, when you go back into the past, it hurts and it's not helpful, because you live in the moment of that hurt, and your healing can't come when you're constantly going back into that moment of hurt.
Wow.
So don't even bother looking through the scratch glass, because you're wasting your time. Just come
Mm,
to what you have now, to this moment, and you'll find everything that you need right now where you are. And it's just
mm.
so empowering and so freeing.
Mm, wow. I
Yeah.
love the way that you describe it. And obviously, being in academia and being a teacher, you have this beautiful way of describing through the use of metaphor. What I'm hearing you talk about is like, let's be in the now, because the past is gone.
Mm,
And trying to look through
mm,
to the past through the scratch grass is really going to be distorted. And that's not really
yeah.
helpful for where you want to be right in this moment. So
Yeah.
Jen, I'd love to hear just maybe one or two things that might come to you fresh in this moment now, of how you feel you've transformed and shifted for yourself.
Mm. So I used to look through the scratch glass and I used to beat myself up quite a bit looking through that scratch glass. And I was reminded very kindly that that's not helpful. And how does that make me feel? So just going with the whole idea of our feelings are barometer of our thinking. So if we're having a low feeling, it's because we're having a low thought, and our thoughts aren't real. And sometimes they're not even helpful. So, but catching that feeling and then thinking of that thoughts, and I'm finding it so in so many different ways now. I'll share a bit of that. But being aware of their thoughts and going, oh, well, that's not really helpful. And oh, that's not a low feeling. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Off you go. Where
Hmm.
before I would sit with it and create a thought storm. I was sharing with a friend the other day, saying it's a thought storm, and then it's like, oh, let's just add some lightning and a big whirlwind there, and let's make a tornado out of it. What is that? It's not fun at all. So just dropping the thought even before we get into the thought storm, it's just so freeing. It's like, oh, I can breathe because it's just a thought and it's not real. And with that is the thing that stands out so much for me is that we live in a thought-based reality. And the more I think about that, the more mind blown I become, because it applies on so many different levels. And if we're thinking about it, we buy into that narrative and we almost create that. What we do, we create that reality because we're looking for the evidence of that reality. So it's something in the future that it's going to happen. We don't even know if it's going to happen. If it does happen, so what? Who knows? But if we go there and we create a thought storm around it, it just creates anxiety, and we can't enjoy where we are right now. And the same with the past. We go back there and we bring it into the present, and we create that thought. Someone's like, oh, where's my peace gone? And it's not
Mm.
fun to live without being in a place of peace.
Wow.
So I've
Wow.
just learned so much in terms of that. So yeah, and I listen to Anastasia, and it's like, yeah, you wake up in the morning and it's like, what does life have for me today? It's not,
Yeah.
I've got to get up and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. It's like, oh, what does life have for me today? And
Yeah.
it's just
I, I,
a different
I
way of
love,
living.
yeah, I love that you referred to Anastasia, who's part of the program that you are, and you training as a coach now.
Mm,
I just want to say, the students that are in front of you when you are teaching must be feeling like they have a gift in you, because you have just such a beautiful way of articulating and speaking about your insights, and what a big relief that is, right? That you can
yeah,
live
yeah.
in this simple way, and that you've got everything you need right at the moment, and the past is gone, and here you are in the presence and in the now.
Mm,
So
mm.
Jen, all your things that you've spoken about today really resonate with me. But if someone had to come to you and say, Jen, why are you so much more peaceful and so calm, and you seem so happy, and you laugh and giggle and smile a lot? What's going on with you? What have you got? What would you tell them if they were wanting to jump onto a program, like the Big Relief or the Awakening or anything like that?
Oh, don't even think about it, just do it. Don't entertain any thoughts, just sign up. And the reason I say that is just the realization of a different way of being. Um, and once you get it, you get it. And the peace that you experience, and just the whole realization of, well, the confirmation, because we kind of know it, but then we forget, and then we remember it. That life is working for you, and God, universe, whatever you want to refer to, has got your back. And there's so many just little things on a daily basis. It's like, you got me. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just it's like amazing. Just the little things and the big things. And you step back and you go, oh wow, look how it's all working. And now and I just feel that I'm more cognizant of it. And I notice it more than I possibly did previously. And what that is about is, I think it's just about being more present. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
being,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's been so lovely. I've got an insider's view on your life, and what I really have enjoyed about you in particular is you've never resisted the opportunity to learn and to stretch and
Mm,
to grow, and you were always open to something more. And yeah, you are, about to
mm,
embark on a whole sort of career path alongside of what you do, and I find that so incredibly heartwarming. And I just want to
mm.
thank you, Jen, for showing up today in your very, very busy life. I know that for sure. And maybe you've got maybe one or two words in the last 1 minute that I feel we have left for this time. What would you love to leave people with as we say goodbye soon?
Um, if people can understand the role of thought and the impact that thought has on your life. And I love how with the programs you do, it's that link between psychological and spiritual, the link between psychological and spiritual. And that is the key to mental well-being. And it's that recognizing the role of thought, and that mental well-being is just one thought away. It can happen like this, or you can struggle with it and it can take you a while, and it might take you 3 months, 3 days, 3 years, however long, until you realize everything is just it's a thought.
Sure.
And yeah, it's
That's yeah,
once you catch that,
yeah. It's
it sets
life
you on your
changing.
path.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you couldn't end on a better note. I mean, what a powerful message for anyone that's struggling with all of the things that people struggle with today. So thank you, Jen. I feel like you've really imparted a lot today. And I've taken a lot for myself even. And I hope that somebody hears something really, really valuable and makes the decision to just kind of invest in themselves, because it's life changing and it's lifelong. So thanks again, Jen. I'm sure it's like dinner time or past dinner time, so I'm going to let you go and have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks, Jen, and
You
bye.
too, Shan. Bye, everyone.